You in
Welcome
Western
to
Tennessee?
Child Abuse Awareness with Darlene J. Clark.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Child Abuse Awareness with Darlene J. Clark. Be a part of the solution, stand upon the problem. Hi, Eric. I'm going to let you talk for a minute while I look for something really quick, if you don't mind.
Fantastic. That's not a problem, Darlene. And thank you for having me on the show. Uh,
Yeah,
it's
you said
definitely,
you wanted to say something a while ago, that you didn't get to say, so I'm going to let you say that if you will.
I did indeed. As a matter of fact, Darlene, I was thinking about it during your last podcast that it's vitally important that that you have this podcast available where other people that are victims can come forward, and when they feel comfortable, they can go ahead and share what they have to share that may be pertinent and relevant to as far as information in regards to what has occurred in their lives and how they've coped with it and dealt with it, and as well as resources that are available today, even to go ahead and be able to facilitate progress and rehabilitation for those individuals. It's coming from a standpoint of being a victim myself at a very young age. It's something I carried for a very long time before I actually sought out and reached out for help. So it's perfectly normal for people to try to dismiss it, put it in the back of their mind, try and get rid of it, compartmentalize it, and not pay attention to it, and not address the issue. But over a period of time, it kind of festers like a splinter, and it'll build in the back of your mind, and then eventually you have no choice but to find a way to address the issue and deal with it. And this is one way to do that. And I'm so glad and thankful that you do have this podcast where you can do it. And that's one of the reasons why I choose to attend, because as a member of victims' um, standpoint of view, that's one thing that is definitely hit home for me is being able to get out and talk to others that are also victims so that we can relay information and different resources that are available for individuals that are in that type of situation to help them better cope and live more productive lives and be able to overcome and help others to do the same. That's that's pretty much what I've got to share on it this morning. And I think it's a very vital, important part, just as well as your book. What you've done with your book and promoting it, which I've yet to get one of those books, but I'm going to get one here shortly,
Yeah.
because I think it's something that's vitally important as well, because it's sharing the awareness. That's exactly what it's about. People have to be made aware, because otherwise, as a victim, you feel helpless, you feel closed in, you don't want to talk about it, you don't want to share, you're shamed, and so you keep that locked up and bottled up inside you, and that's not healthy for nobody from any standpoint of view.
You got
Um,
that right.
Absolutely. So I
And
think
say
that's.
hi to Bucket List. She told us hello, so say
Oh,
hi to her.
okay, fantastic. Hello. But I think it's very important. Yeah, what you do, it's a beautiful thing that you do. And I think as more and more people come aware, and more we share with others the awareness and the reality of what's going on, and even on the world stage, what's happening, even in Washington now, how things are being exposed in regards to Epstein, and it stems from it. So there's very different forms and facets of abuse, and from different standpoints, but a lot of it comes from which one would think would be the safest place to be when you go to church. You wouldn't think that something like that would happen there. And as in my case, it wasn't actually at the church. It's like the function that we were in with the Boy Scouts, and I was in the Cub Scouts. The function was moved from the church grounds to the den master's house, and that's where it occurred for me. So, uh,
Wow.
yet again, it was a situation where it was not something that was in the control of the church, or that the church even actually knew about it, but because it was the springboard, which is what drew the church in and caused them to wind up in it, because of the fact that the function originated at the church is what actually caused that to come about. So, very different, but just goes to show you it's not just one particular aspect, it very many different facets of life that this abuse affects in very many different ways. So it
Exactly.
may be one form of abuse for me, where it's something different for you, but it's going to be something totally different for somebody else. But it's still abuse, is the bottom line, and it's of a sexual nature. It's unwarranted. It's detestable as far as I'm concerned. That's something that's for somebody to force herself on you like that and do the things that they do is horrific. It should never happen. And I hope that through time and society, we can find a way to call the awareness and address the issue and smother this out, because it has to stop. The victims have to stop being created. These
Right.
monsters have to be put away, and people need to be. They need to understand. Look, this is not normal. This is not right. This is not okay. Just because you have a personal whatever and you want to do it, that's no excuse to victimize somebody else and change and alter their lives and off course and ruin their life by doing something like this. And as well, it's also great for other people to know that even though your life is affected, there is recovery and there is hope. Through the awareness, then we can do the recovery and have the hope of living a more productive life and being able to get back to normal as close as we can. Are you still there,
Yeah,
dear?
yeah, I'm still here. Hold on a
Okay.
second. Yeah, I like the fact of what you're saying and everything, and I like you to elaborate more and also elaborate more on what you said in the earlier post about it's not just with one religion.
It ain't. It's not just Pentecostal or Methodist, or as in my case it was the Catholic Church. And there's many different religions that are affected. I'm sure they're just not known yet. It's not just in one area this is going on. Satan is very, very deceptive. He's very sneaky, and he's very resourceful, and so he's operating in more than just one area in just one way. But still, nonetheless, it all boils down to the same thing, that we as victims are assaulted, and we have to deal with carrying this baggage, this extra baggage that's bestowed upon us wrongfully by individuals who want to force themselves and force their way into our lives in a very, very sick and sadistic way, is what I consider it to be, because that's something that's supposed to, that type of contact is supposed to be something between a husband and a wife only. That's the way God intended it. He didn't intend it. There ain't no Adam and Steve. It's not intended that way. And surely, some of these individuals that are operating under these guys, of their sick, twisted ways, that's how they look at it, and they think it's perfectly normal, but it's not. And so we have to call awareness to that, and as we do, spread the word, which I'm trying to do myself, is get the word out. And there's, as far as the Catholic Church goes, there are to date over 35,000 victims reported. This is a certain time span, and this is back in, gosh, the early 70s when this occurred. And look at how long it's taken to get justice. You're talking about 54 years, nearly 54 years to attain justice and awareness of this sick disease and this sick crime that these people commit and impose yourself on other people's lives. It's something that is horrific that I wouldn't wish on anybody, but yet at the same time, we do know as we share, we learn and acknowledge that it does exist, and in many cases, it's still going on today, even with the discussions that are going on. It's still occurring. It's still happening. So we have to fight and we have to raise the awareness and we have to keep speaking out in order to stop it. We have to stop it. We don't know if we're ever going to stop it totally, but as God is my witness, we're going to try because that's all we can do. And then the rest is up to God. But I have a feeling in the end, God will win and this evil will be stopped and children will be safe. It's not normal for children to have to suffer in such a manner. It's distasteful. It's disgusting, and there's no place for it in God's house. I can tell you that, and there's no place for it in my house or anybody else that I know. And so as we move forward, as we get ready to go to North Carolina to the convention, that's the message that we're putting out, that we're portraying, that awareness has to come about. That's why we cordially invite you to attend as well, because you're a very special, important part of it, because of the awareness that you bring about and you share through your situations that have happened to you and the book that you put out. All those are positive key points to help raise that awareness, to bring it to light so that people can know how devastating this I call it's a disease. It's a psychological disease that these people have, that they think is perfectly normal to do that to others, and it's not. And so in doing so, as we raise that awareness, the healing comes about. And that's where the importance is. That's where we're at now, is we're healing. As we're raising the awareness, we're healing each other because we can talk about it, we can get it out in the open, address it, and that way, as we share, others can feel more comfortable to do the same. Because I'm sure there's many, many victims out there that otherwise wouldn't do so and wouldn't have this. I consider it help to be able to talk about it, face it, confront it, and get it out in the open. It's very important to be able to do that, because it is part of the healing process, is to be able to talk and get it out there.
I want to tell you that at the very top of the screen, everybody, you see a little ISBN thing right there. All you got to do is take a screenshot of that, and that takes you to where my book. That's how you're able to purchase my book.
Okay.
You got a
All
left
right.
side of the screen up top.
Sure.
But
Yeah, I see that. The little the hashtag there. Yeah, I see it.
that little thing up there, yeah.
Hmm.
So I put it up there right quick. A friend of mine had contacted me earlier and said that God had led him to come to check out my YouTube earlier, right?
Okay.
And he said that then for some reason he ended up over at my Amazon where my first book got a bad review. Okay.
Right.
Well, it's because my ex daughter in law, she was fuming at me. How I left my first book, Born and Live in Hell. I was talking about how my stepmom was talking. I overheard them talking about killing me and making it look like suicide.
Wow.
And so I told that story. And so she ended up calling me on the phone after she had a copy of my book and had read. And of course, that's where I left it off at that, where I was still at home. It did not say how I got out of the house, how I left it. Okay, so I guess I left it at a cliffhanger. Then the next book was going to be a continuum on how I got out of the situation, right?
Sure. Sure.
So she had called me and asked me, was I going to have my ex husband in the book? I said, of course I got to have him in the book. I said, that's how I ended up getting out safely, right?
Hmm.
He's the one that saved me from that. And so she said, I'm asking you not to do that. I'm saying, I got to do what I feel like God wants me to do, not what man wants me to do. So at Amazon, under my first book, Born to Live in Hell, she had wrote Sounds Made Up. She titled it Lies. Um, I could show the screen right quick if y'all want me to share that so that y'all know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. Hold on a minute. Let me get back to the live. Okay, let me get back over here. And this is
Yeah,
the purpose of us talking about things because
right.
of that fact, right?
That's just it, Darlene. And don't let anybody shun you from speaking the truth, because that's what God is all about, is the truth. That's where God is. He is the truth,
So
the way, and the light.
can you see
So
can y'all see my screen?
I can, I
Can
sure
you
can.
go ahead and read it for me? What all it says?
Let's see. It says lies, sounds made up, which I know for a fact it is. Thanks, Mother, for doing what I asked you not to do.
So somebody asked me about that.
And again, Darlene, I mean, other people may have, ill feelings about it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to face it. It's uncomfortable. It's painful. It's just like when you injure something, you injure your wrist or your hand, you sprain it, or you were talking about your back bothering you. It's uncomfortable to want to address the issue or to work it. It's perfectly human nature, perfectly natural human nature to be that way. However, it's better if you do work it a little bit, but just gently, easily,
Yeah, I'm
and
sure.
because over time, it does it does get to feeling a little bit better as you work it, but just not severely, just gently. It's the same way with this awareness. As long as you keep working it, it works if you work it. Is what it
Exactly.
amounts to. It's just like substance abuse, drug addiction, or awareness. Anything else, it works if you work it. If you go to the AA meetings, if you go to the drug addiction meetings, uh, it works if you work it. You can overcome drug dependency. You can overcome drug addiction, just like you can overcome being a victim and cope with it better, so if you work it a little at a time with the awareness and get the word out, because you get to feel better, because you see the positiveness that you're promoting, because you're raising that awareness, and
Right,
people are beginning to see, well, okay, I guess it is okay to come out and talk about it now, because they're doing it,
right.
so I
Here's
guess it's time for me to do it too.
here's a meet and pep talk thing I wrote a while back, and I'm hoping more people would want to join in on think about doing a Christian based support group on adult survivors of abuse, whether or not it's verbal, physical, no matter what type of abuse. I would hope that people will want to come and join us and you'll have support.
Sure.
Here and here's what it says. Abuse affects their lives in so many ways. What do we do when we are too scared to tell? When we have trusted someone and they did not help? Sometimes someone asks, what did you do to get punished this way? Abuse is abuse. Abuse is not punishment. Abuse is torture, crippling, and debilitating.
Sure.
What advice would you give others to help them through the horrendous memories? Are you there for the person, or are you part of the knife in your friend or relative's back since you may have turned a blind eye to it? Are you claiming to advocate against abuse but condemn the people who tell and share their stories? Do you want to be a part of the solution or part of the problem? Let's stand united and discuss ways in which we may help others. What ways have helped you in your healing journey? Are you in a constant battle fighting the negative forces within? Stop. Let's encourage one another. Are you an officer in the judicial system not doing your duty? Your duty is to serve and protect. How do we open the public's eyes so they can acknowledge and feel the need to help protect the children and our citizens? The children are our future. You matter.
Indeed. Good point. That's another very big positive point. Law enforcement, they need to step up to the plate. And
Exactly.
and in one case, it's already happened. When you look at the case up there in Kentucky, where the sheriff Mickey Steins shot the judge in his chambers, and why did he do that? As the story is unfolding and coming out, now it's being disclosed that the sheriff was being extorted by the judge in order to for his family to stay safe, because the daughter was starting an internship within the courthouse, and the judge was running a brothel out of the back of the courthouse. That's why the federal government had a camera installed in his chambers so that they could keep an eye on things, because people were starting to talk about it. So it just goes to show you, it could be a judge, it could be an officer, one of his deputies was involved with the judge. So I mean, you know,
Look at Judge Mike McLaughlin over there, and look at Alabama State Trooper who, when I went to go meet him at the library for talking about genealogy, and he said,
right?
"Oh, I remember you." I said, "From what?" He said, "From all the child pornos my dad did. He had over $200 or $300, 300 of them, and you were the majority of them. My legs went out from underneath me, and I
Yeah,
kid you
just
not.
just because they're a
I
judge
mean,
or
just
they're
because
an
they're a judge
officer,
or what makes them feel like they're above the law, I mean,
exactly. It doesn't mean that they're just because somebody's a judge or an officer. It doesn't mean that they're good people all the time, and it doesn't mean they're above the law either. Because this justice should reach each and every one of us. We should all be held accountable to the same standards, no matter what. You break the law, you need to you need to face the music, take your
pay the
medicine.
piper, kind of say.
That's exactly what it is. And
And what's so
and so
bad?
they think that they're above the law, and they don't have to because they are the law.
And
You
what's so
know,
bad about it? I do feel sorry for the ones that actually get blamed for doing something that they did instead, or getting caught into like I know
sure,
there's some people that it's actually some police officers that's done the bad duty.
yep,
Um, and yet they blame just a certain person or something like that. And here we are blaming this and saying this person's a sex offender. How do we not know that it's actually this state trooper, that police officer, or Judge McLaughlin, or
and
John Ramsey, or Hunter Biden, or Eric Rudolph, or
it's just
any of
like when
those? How do
yeah,
we not know, right?
you go to them for help, and you think you're going to get help, and you get stonewalled instead. That's part of what's happening in the judicial system here, because it's the buddy system.
Yeah,
I scratch your back, you scratch mine. That's what they do here.
like
And
even
go ahead.
like even when I was married and not married after my divorce, I was with a boyfriend, and I went to somebody's house and cleaned it, and he attacked me. Um, and they when I went back home. I called my boyfriend from payphone because cell phones did not do good inside his house. So, and I told him what had happened, and he said, "No, you did such and such. Now I got to look for a lady that's gonna have sex with me." And with sex, I wasn't willing to have sex. I was attacked, and I would have never went over there to work for that guy had he not said he needed beer money, right?
Right.
And so he was the main reason I went over there to do some money so he could have that. And see, I ain't never gonna fall for that employee ever again. A guy's gonna say, "I want some beer money." Do it yourself, man. I ain't gonna go I am not gonna go and work my butt off and maybe put myself in that kind of predicament to be attacked by a guy ever again.
Yep.
Because I was over there supposed to clean his house because his girlfriend was going to come over the weekend. And I ended up, and when I ended up I went to the hospital, and then I went to the police department, and the police actually said, "Well, you could have got away. You didn't fight hard enough. You didn't scream. This guy was 6'5", dude. I mean, he worked doing on 18 wheelers, and he didn't even have to use Jack to lift to change a tire on the thing. He could do it himself. He's that strong. I mean, he twisted my body, threw it around like it was a rag doll, and I mean, from one position, from sitting there on the couch to another position where I'm on my knees, and I didn't even know what had happened that quick. It just come up and did
Absolutely.
that, and it's like, excuse me. And then he says, well, there's another case where a lady was walking her dog in town, and he went ahead and raped her in the car, and because they found out she wasn't wearing no panties, he almost got away with raping that girl because of the fact she didn't have no panties on. I said, how ridiculous is that? Because how would he not know she wasn't wearing panties until he pulled the pants down, right?
Yeah, that's
So
ridiculous.
it's ridiculous. And he said, so I'm, not gonna prosecute the guy or nothing. So it's like a slap on the wrist, and that affected me so bad that I ended up plus hearing from my boyfriend that, oh, since you had sex with somebody, I'm gonna go have sex with somebody. And he kept trying to, I was immoral, wrong, it's against what I'm doing now. But anyway, to make matters worse, uh, I ended up in the hospital, and there was a lady, and she was like, "You didn't deserve this," and then she was mad at my boyfriend for putting me under undue stress too, right? And so the next, I guess, within a year, it made it in the paper where that DA who questioned me ended up retiring. And in the front page of paper, he said, I solved all my cases. And no, he just got a lot of people to drop their cases, with the tax and stuff. See what I'm saying?
Right, right.
They didn't want to hear it. And so next thing I know, the following week, there was a letter to the editor, and it was the doctor who had seen me in the hospital. And she wrote, there was a lady that was in the hospital who had been attacked, and you told her that, it's not worth going after because this other lady was raped, and y'all, the guy almost didn't get prosecuted because the girl wasn't wearing underwear, right?
Sure.
And so, how dare you say that all your cases were solved when you made a lot of people just drop their cases? You're going up there and you're getting an award for you're retiring, and you get an award for the fact that you solved all your cases, left no cases unsolved. Well, you
R-
were, I mean, something with that.
Right. So he was being prejudgmental. He predetermined that you couldn't you could have fought harder and you could have got away, and that's just a blatant abuse of power is what I
And it
can
was
that.
and it was basically because he knew that he would be out of office before it would have ever went to the court system, and he wanted to go on a clean record that all his cases were solved.
Right. Exactly. And that's how the judicial system is starting to be exposed now. It's just like if you go to Judge McLaughlin and you're seeking a restraining order in fear of other individuals because it's tied to domestic terrorism, and your life has already been threatened once, and so you're afraid, and the judge looks at you and tells you to go out to the hallway, and he gets off the bench and comes out there where there ain't no cameras, and he tells you, you know, don't ever try to do this again. If you do, I will see to it that you end up under the jail. It totally threw me for a loop. Totally. Hearing that coming from somebody that you would think their job is to protect and to serve and to do the right thing, and then the wrong thing occurs. It's something that you totally don't expect. It's just like the contempt of court at my residence with corrupt law enforcement. It's not the first time that I've encountered this. It's becoming more and more obvious and more common for these type of things to occur. I've run into other people inside of convenience stores and just strike up a conversation with them, and them disclose to me where they've had similar instances. So we're not alone. It's just a fact of, are they willing to share? And a lot of people are afraid to open up. They're afraid to speak out because they're in fear of what else might happen next. So
Yeah, but if we keep living in fear and all that, that's just building up. When they get even more power and more strength and there are more capabilities to keep harming us and using the judicial system in that negative, bad way and the corrupt way where it don't really help us victims out.
that's why it's important to speak out, and it's important to move forward with this because of the fact that we have to show that we have power in numbers. Together we stand, united we fall. It's basically
Exactly.
obvious. That's what it's all about. They have to know that we're not afraid and that we will stand up and that we do have rights and we are coming forward and pushing forward until justice is served. Just like in Mickey Stein's case, he was under duress, extreme duress. He had already gone through a deposition. They were trying to implicate him, and the judge was trying to stay out of it. I'm the innocent judge. I'm the upstanding, law-abiding judge, and I've done nothing wrong. But your deputy did, so your deputy is your responsibility, type thing. That's how these people work. But in that case, in the judge's case, it backfired on him because Mickey Stein snapped and did him in. Uh, Totally.
And the
On the
bad thing is, if he wouldn't have probably done what he done, that judge was still going to be exploiting the people like he was. It's like they're
exactly.
in,
It will
just like
continue.
that, just like that guy that went and rescued his daughter that the guy had kidnapped, and he ended up. At first, that guy was attacked by the kidnapper, and he ended up shooting the guy, I think it was, and yet they put him in prison for killing the predator who not this was not the first time that this predator had done something to that guy's daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. We have.
And yet he's the one reprimanding for protecting. Yet he came in and somehow and got the daughter out of her sleeping bed,
Right.
coaxed her out of the house to him.
Right.
Excuse me, what's wrong with this system when you're like, okay, it's an open shut case. There's a perpetrator. We called. Oh, they said that they couldn't come out and help. They were busy doing this other thing for a missing kid. So of course, you think the daddy, if you saw that, would just wait till find out, yeah, I found him and stuff. Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and let this perpetrator's kidnapper take my kid and do whatever until the law can do something about it. You think that is plausible? Or you think you want to get in there and you want to rescue your child while you can? Get real.
Yeah. Yeah. The system is broken. Okay. And it's up to us to raise the awareness of just how broken it is. That's what it's going to take. And we're doing that one person at a time. It's a slow process starting out, as it is with anything. But eventually, excuse me, it's going to pick up steam, and people are going to be made aware. They're going to become more aware, and because of that, as we shed the light on it, it's gonna stifle it out because sin cannot live where God is. You know, the devil runs and flees God because he can't be in the light. It's just like mold growing. It can't grow where there's light. It has to be dark. It has to be damp. It has to have the right conditions to exist. As long as
Right.
we continue to promote the positivity and the awareness of this, the more we are apt to stifle this out and to end this tyranny of reign that the devil has had and controlling people and ruining other people's lives in the process. That's
You,
exactly what it takes.
you know how many of my other fellow survivors, on top of the fact, not just me, okay, there's other survivors as well who have even told their parents, which my parents couldn't give a dang because they were the ones that were responsible in the first place to selling me to these bad people, okay? But these other people that's like, my daddy did this, my uncle did this person kidnapped me, this person took me out the window and did this to me. Oh, but you're a whore. You did that yourself. You're a slut. And yet this was a child, and these are grown men, and they're going like this and blaming their child still today, still
Exactly.
trying to tell them to be quiet, that you're trying to steer trouble. Oh, but we don't want trouble. Well, guess what? Maybe we didn't want trouble either. We didn't want the victimization. We didn't want this scarring on our bodies forever, okay? We didn't want our minds with we didn't want to be violated and stuff. But the fact is it happened. Are we gonna just sit back and act like nothing happened? Heck no. Heck no, we might be the only way that somebody else survives by us speaking up.
Right. Exactly. That's what it takes. Speaking up, one person at a time, and sharing with one person at a time. And over time, we will stifle this. And at the same time, those of us that are strong enough, standing up already, we go ahead and confront those that are guilty, just like I'm doing in the courts now. You
Right.
have to head these people head on and bring the awareness in order for justice to be served. You know,
A- And it's kind of crazy when they knew that y'all were supposed to go to per said place, then all of a sudden this other thing transpired and got in y'all's way, stopped you from doing that. And then now you got this other thing that's trying to stand in the way of y'all getting that done. But you know what? You're saying, hey, no, I'm still going to do it because y'all just trying to keep up it being in the judicial system and the courts and all this other kind of stuff, rigmarole. You're trying to hold me hostage here in a way with all these just extenuating, just letting this pass, letting this keep going on, letting this keep going on to another court date, to another court date. And so we don't get nothing done what we were supposed to get done. You know what I'm saying? It, and just like, I mean, dang, that we're going to get the ball rolling. We don't give a care what y'all say, because y'all are eventually are going to pay for what you're doing. And y'all that's putting roadblocks up for us. Guess what? Y'all going to have to pay for that as well. Because whether or not you're part of the sex trafficking ring that we're trying to present, you are part of the people by sugarcoating it, by helping them. When you are helping them out legal wise, guess what? You're very much a predator yourself. Anybody who supports these pedophiles and these predators, guess what? You are one yourself.
that's right, and that's so true. Because if you're not part of the solution, then you are part of the problem. Exactly opposite of what you say.
And there's been a lot of people that tries to say Trump this, Trump that, but there's not been any validation behind it either.
No, no, and
It's been
and like
false things that's been brought up, and it's been proven that it was false.
sure,
So
and
anybody else wants to say that this news this news that, um, I think it was Obama who changed the law so that the news don't have to tell the truth with the news anymore.
right, yeah, and that's sad. It's just like the title of your topic today, trigger warning, and it is a trigger warning when you're when you're heated in battle with the judicial system, and you're making it a point. You're making plans. You're getting ready to head to Washington, and then these individuals show up and decide to arrest you for being at home, not doing anything wrong, and say that you're a burglar or a squatter when you're at home. If you can't squat at home, where can you squat at?
Exactly. You're home. You're able to relax. Goodness,
Right.
and they end up confiscating that, and then then I mean, even the false pretenses of what the police officer did that day, just watching y'all a couple of days, and
Sure.
then
Simple.
misrepresenting it and saying that this neighbor said this, that y'all seem suspicious, when that neighbor never said that, and he's been trying to be a witness for y'all too, also in this case, and they won't even turn over body camera footage, which is that
Nope.
is an illegal in itself, also.
And eventually, like I said, I'm going to keep fighting and keep pushing. And we're going to Washington all the way to the Supreme Court justices. If we have to, we will get justice in this case. And these people will be reprimanded and dealt with for um, for stifling the law, for derailing justice is what they're trying to do. And it's going to
Right.
stop because they're not the only ones. There's other counties. This state is notorious for being a police state. And I'm not saying that all police are bad, because they're not,
No,
but there is a majority of them that are. Okay, I would say probably at least 50% of them, 50% are probably dirty in one way or another.
that's
You
why I
don't
still
know it, I don't know it, but I'm sure they are. Is they just don't make themselves known to us because they're doing it to somebody else.
exactly, and
You
that's
know,
why I do. And so I have a lot of troubles calling the police when I do have a problem because I don't feel like they will protect me because a lot of times when I had called them in the past, oh, your husband could abuse you. Oh, he likes to hit you. Oh, he likes as long as he don't kill you. Then when he threatens and gets a life insurance policy on you and then threatens to kill you, even though they got the prior injuries of broken bones, busted lips, and all this other kind of stuff. Oh, we can't do that until he actually does kill you. Excuse me, where is the serve and protect that? When your siblings had told the uh, officer that, oh, Daddy was shooting at Darlene, uh, and then the officer takes me to where Daddy is, and then he asked Daddy, said, why she you can see the bruises all over her, all the scratches all over her body and everything, and we heard that he would shoot. You were shooting at her too, and Daddy said, "Oh, she fell into some blackberry bushes, right?" And the officer looked at me, and I wasn't the one that even said that about my daddy shooting at me. You know, my siblings were the ones that said what daddy, because I was still in a fugue. Okay, I was still in a when a car backfired, went by the school. It sent me like PTSD. That time I thought, I mean, I ran like a bat out of heck. And supposedly they found me 2 or 3 miles down the road from school somewhere.
right,
And but I didn't know what was going on because I went into another state of mind because I thought I was being shot at.
right.
And so my siblings had told him that Dad would shoot at me, and look at all our marks that Dad did those. And yet
Right.
the police officer said actually told me that he better not ever hear of me saying that Dad ever did anything to me ever again, or I was going to be the one in trouble with the police.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, I don't condone that sort of action, that sort of activity with an adult coming down on a child to stifle them from speaking the truth when they do feel that they're in danger and they have something to say. That's of vital importance like this. I think it's highly important. So to those that may be listening out there, if they think that it's okay to tell your child, don't say anything else about mommy or daddy if they're doing something wrong to you. By all means, if you feel it's wrong, let somebody know what's going on that can help or that can get you the help that you need. Because just because they think it's wrong doesn't mean that because they think that it's not wrong doesn't mean that it is in fact not wrong. It could be very well wrong.
Well, let
Uh,
me tell you this too. With today's society, a lot of kids actually pitch a fit and say, "Oh, being cruel to me, making me be a slave, not making me clean up my room,
yeah,
and I'm not going to get paid for that. To making me be a maid, well, it's your room. That should be your responsibility. I
that's right.
got paid with the roof over my head and the food in my stomach and the clothes on my back. Okay, I got paid with that. I did not need no kind of allowance when I was a little girl like that. I just needed the necessities of taking care of a child, right?
Absolutely, sure. And likewise in my case, my parents died when I was very young, at a young age. And
Sorry to hear that.
and I was raised by my oldest brother, and him and his wife did a wonderful job raising me. I always felt safe. I always felt secure. I never had those issues like what you encountered, and I'm so sorry that you did. And I know there's a lot of other children out there that do, but my abuse came before that, way before that. Um,
Yeah.
so
if I'm not mistaken, when I was reading some of the this earlier with the church thing, I
Uh huh.
thought I had read, but I don't know how I ended up uh, erasing that page or knocking it down. It must have been one that I was that camp that that guy ended up doing that worked that I did yesterday. That he actually worked. Joe Campbell, Joseph Campbell, that actually worked for Morningside. He also had a camp out there. And if I'm not mistaken, I thought somewhere down in the thing it might be Boy Scouts, but that might be in with the study tomorrow. Because tomorrow's going to be really lengthy with a lot of different people involved in that. Are you there, Eric?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Technical difficulty, evidently. It's I'm down here in the basement, so it's probably the signal carrying and missing.
Oh,
It does
he's
that when I get
got
in
me in
first.
the basement, guys, but that's just. I'd rather be in the basement, especially during storms.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But as I was trying to say, and I'm like, well, I guess you didn't hear me. I will be attending that tomorrow as well because I will be, sharing what I have to share in regards to that as well. Once again, because I think it's vitally important that we do share and we get the word out. And the Catholic Church being involved. Some of the instances weren't like mine; they were more severe, and they were within the church, well within the church. So that just goes to show you it affects different people in different aspects of life, but it's all the same abuse.
And I want
That
to reiterate with everyone that it's not no Democrat Party that's involved with this. It's also Republican Party. I mean, it's a world of a lot of different people.
it's a world problem. It ain't just a Republican problem. It ain't just a Democratic problem. It ain't just a you and me problem. It's a everybody problem. Everybody
Exactly.
needs to be aware, and everybody needs to know. Even though it's uncomfortable to talk about, it's not the most liked topic that you can think of. Of course, I can think of much worse, but still, nonetheless, it's not something that's pleasurable to have to discuss. But still, at the same time, needs to be addressed. You have to address the elephant in the room. You have to you have to talk about it. You have to share, and you have to make it known because that's the only way that we're going to to heal from it for one, and to raise awareness for two, and to overcome it for three. And that's what it takes, and it takes a lot of it. It does.
Now, now, a couple of days ago, I remembered something, and I told a couple of people about the memory, and I said, "Yeah, I remembered it years ago, also, but it was an ex-boyfriend I was with, and later on, he went to jail for messing with kids, but that's beside the point. This, so he got in trouble with that after I left him. Then, but when I was with him, let's see what she has to say right here. The bad authorities, but if a child feels threatened, they should feel okay to go to teacher or law enforcement. There's still some good police officers. Exactly. There's still some good ones. That's exactly right. And if that
There are.
police officer don't listen, continue on. Don't give up telling people. Don't give up telling, okay? Find somebody else that will believe you, okay?
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
but I was this is really gonna be hard to listen to, y'all. So please bear with me, okay? Because it's not really good the memory, okay? Okay, I had went dusting in a little place organizing. Okay, Eric's gone. Maybe he'll come back. But I went and seen a book, and he had in there, and he goes, "Okay, thumb it open to marriage." Welcome back.
Right.
I said, I said, he said, thumb it up to the marriage section. So I thumbed it up, moved it over to the marriage section. He said, well, this is how I want to marry you. You would not believe it was really satanic. This was supposed to happen on a Halloween. I read on that it's going to have a big fire burning outside. Every attendant had to be naked. We had to be naked, but he would be wearing a satanic head, Satan's head.
Oh,
Um, and he was going to chase me around and around the fire. And I had to devote my life and say, yes, I'm marrying thee, Satan.
wow.
And then we were to consummate the marriage between me and Satan, not me and him, but me and Satan.
Right.
And I don't have none of that in my book, y'all. Okay. But I'm telling y'all now. And I was perplexed. I could not believe what he was telling me. I was really shocked. And he said then them other people would still be around while whatever, and if they wanted to get into that kind of thing, it'd be like an orgy type of thing, I guess.
Right.
And I knew from that that I was going to be a sacrificial lamb after all that. And then it was probably going to kill me. But I, anyway, am not that type of girl that I am modest. I don't believe in, I don't, I had lived wrong by being with him in the first place, evidently. I'm glad that good Lord brought me out of it. I'm safe away from that. Um, but that's another case of me being right there with somebody that was strictly demonic.
Indeed.
And that's
There's many,
pretty dang scary.
yeah, there's many of them out there like that. Um, and it's insane. I just saw it pop up on my screen. Another 13-year-old went missing. So it's still ongoing. It's still happening. The devil's still working. The devil's still trying to ruin lives and take lives and destroy them. And and so we have to continue this fight. We're at the forefront of this fight, and we
I
have to
think
continue the fight.
I think anybody that's even got a mental disorder or anybody that's under the age of 18 or something like that, if the kid is missing, they need to go ahead. They don't need to wait 24 hours, okay? Like a friend of mine's kid did not come home from school. She called the authorities, she called the school, she called different people. They said, well, she ain't been missing for 24 hours. And here she was, 15-year-old. She
Right,
could have done been raped and murdered somewhere, laying somewhere dead, right?
right.
But the police said, we got to give it 24 hours. But the next school day, she came home from the bus and she got off the school bus. So she did go home with somebody. But still, the
Evidently,
fact is, the police should have got involved, got her butt, bring her back home safely.
yeah. Because in that 24-hour time span, that's a pretty big gap for an individual to try something. Thank God nothing happened to that child.
We don't know.
But
Really, she could have been raped and all that. She could have believed somebody and was raped. We don't know, right?
that's correct, and a lot of people forget there was one particular case that happened. Gosh, it was back in the, I want to say it was the early '80s, and it was it involved a Hall County sheriff deputy who actually kidnapped a little girl, raped her, sodomized her, tortured her, killed her,
Mm.
and then hung her off the side of a cliff where he
Oh,
thought
wow.
nobody would find her. And it eventually caught up with him, but that just goes to show you it was law enforcement itself that targeted a child.
Right.
So that's just got to tell you that's something really wrong upstairs for an individual to want to do something like that to a child. That
Or
has to be
sometimes
demon oppression.
sometimes I start burping. We get into something more like it's like, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Well, it's a
And
demon
just kind of
oppression
get
strictly.
to
I mean,
does
That's
get to
well because
you.
they're demon oppressed, Darlene. They they're not in control at that point. They're definitely not. That's why it's so important to stay in your face, in your faith, and stand strong in God's word, and follow His word, and keep your mind focused on Him daily, because the Satan is on the prowl. The adversary is prowling daily, nightly, constantly, never ending, always looking for that angle, that split second that they need to creep into your life, that he creeps into your life and destroys your life and whoever else that you end up violating in the process. Um,
Yeah.
and in this case, it was a Hall County Sheriff's Deputy, Rudy Lee Bromley was his name,
Wow,
and,
I
and
remember that name. Yeah.
yeah, and Amy Hallman. It's the Amy Hallman case.
Oh,
And
wow.
my late wife was on the jury that was actually sat over that case and heard it. So I learned firsthand from her about it. I didn't hear about it until he told me about it. So this world is, at the same time, you can look at it and say, well, it don't get no bigger. It's only so big. But still, at the same time, not everybody hears everything at the same time either. So
Exactly.
there's always room for awareness. There's always room for spreading the truth and spreading the awareness, because not everybody knows. Just because
Right.
everybody's here doesn't mean everybody's paying attention and hearing it at the same time. That's not what's happening. What's happening is everybody's hearing it at different times. People are waking up at different times, just like people are being abused at different times.
And you see what they're, and yet those type of people cannot be rehabilitated. This is a fact. This is why we have the RSO list. And yeah, have you noticed that a lot on the RSO list that they go ahead and give them just 10 years? 10 years? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
10
indeed.
years and then he gone off the list and then we didn't know that. I mean, he's not on the list, so we're trusting him. Excuse me? Did you hear that one case where that woman, this lover of somebody that's a registered sex offender, got so mad because her new guy is a registered sex offender and she's got kids and everything? How dare y'all still have him on a registered sex offender? He's a really good guy.
Right,
Y'all ain't giving people a fair shake.
right,
Excuse us?
right,
I mean, what about the fair shake of the children that's been violated, the ones that's been murdered, the ones that don't have a voice? These people, their whole lives were taken away from them, and
sure,
yet what they get, some of them just a year, some get 90 days, some get just, a little slap on the wrist. What about that lady that recently voluntarily, it's her will, she killed her little toddler. Oh, what'd she get? What, 90 days?
yeah.
She killed her toddler and got 90 days. What's wrong with this picture? That kid ain't got 90 days. That kid ain't got no more. And
Right.
yet that parent's got just 90 days and she voluntarily just killed him. What's wrong with this picture, people? What is truly wrong?
What's wrong is the fact that the judicial system has gotten lax because it's been infiltrated and it's been weaponized. And so we have to take the fight that way, which is what we're doing. And we have to get certain people in office that will not cave, they will not be bought, they will not give in, and they will stand strong in their faith and stand strong for the people and their rights, especially the children's rights, because the children are the ones that are mostly affected, gravely affected, because they don't have a voice, they don't have a means, they're
That's
totally
why,
vulnerable.
and
So we
that's
have
what,
to, we have to most definitely fight for them, because that's where the real battleground is, Darlene. It's
yeah,
right
hold the
there.
fort down while I go to the other room for a second, okay?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Not at all. I don't mind. That's exactly where the fight is, though, Darlene. Is the fact that you know these predators, they know where that battleground is too, and because they know where it's at, that's where they're headed. That's their primary target. And if it's through a church Sunday school class, or a church outing, or a church event after hours, that's where these predators prowl. So it's up to us, the parents, the responsible adults to keep vigilant and not let our guard down, and to constantly be looking and waiting for that time when it does arrive. God hope it never does, but nonetheless, we have to stay vigilant, and we have to watch our children very carefully, very carefully. And I think that's our timer, Darlene. Are you back? Hello, Darlene. Have you arrived?
Yeah, I arrived. Hold on
Okay.
a minute. Hold on a minute. Let me keep going on, and I better call that guy back. I could give him a ride on it away. Little.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So you hold up. Let me call him back right quick.
All right. Yeah, and to all the people out there that are listening and following, I wanted to take the time to thank you so much for tuning in today and listening to our awareness that we're trying to spread the word, because it is vitally important. It's of the utmost importance, because these children is our future generation. They're going to be the ones that are going to be looking up to us, and they're going to be looking out for us in our later years. So it's up to us to protect and shield them, and to fight this danger, this sickness, this disease, because that's what it is in people's minds. It's a psychological disease that has to be curbed. It has to be stopped, and they have to know it will not be tolerated. If you're caught and you're found guilty, you will be dealt with swiftly and severely. And that's why we're heading to Raleigh for the convention, with the Provisional Governor's Office of the state of North Carolina, to raise that awareness. Yes,
You're right.
you're welcome.
It's gonna be a. It's gonna
I
be
can
a
see somebody
convention.
said thank you, but I can't quite read their name. The sun's in my
Our
eyes.
bucket.
Let's see here.
Our bucket list has holes.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
most
I want to let y'all know too that I want to start, like I said, a support group for survivors who want to go in there and talk. And I need some of y'all that's going to be strong enough to be right there and help me with them. Because, like if, like for instance, Eric, if you were in there, and they might want to just talk to a guy one on one, okay? I could
sure,
put you both in a breakout room to have your privacy there, okay?
right. Okay,
And so that's why I would need other people in there too that's strong, that could be an inspiration to other people in case somebody needs to have one on one with somebody,
hmm, absolutely.
if
Yes,
that makes sense. So I really want to get that started, and I want to keep it like a Christian base because I don't like anybody to come in and start using the GD and MF type of words. That
no,
really, I mean, especially a lot of us victims that's been tortured and stuff like that. A lot of us do not want to hear that because that's what basically we heard a lot of our lives. To me, that just brings it right back, slaps me in the face. Okay. I can't
sure.
stand it.
Sure, absolutely not. And I look at it the same way you do, and I'm sure everybody else does as well. Because when you allow that to occur, then you're letting the devil in, and God won't be where the devil is. He just ain't gonna be there. But at the same time, the devil will flee from God as well. So as long as we promote positivity, as long as we shed this spotlight on it, on the evil and on the devil and the negativity, he's going to flee further, and it's going to be less and less. So we have to keep the pressure on, most definitely, and
Yeah.
and apply more pressure as we can, and that's what we're doing by raising that awareness and heading to North Carolina, and eventually to Washington, because uh, we have to spread the word. We have to
Exactly.
testify. We have to make it known, because these people that are in these high, powerful places, they have to be held accountable for their wrongdoings, because those
Exactly.
victims that are out there, they need the help. And this is one way that they can get it, by somebody else standing up and saying, "Hey, I know this was
Look
told to
what,
me. I heard this, and
look
this
what
is
happened in
true."
Virginia. Look what happened in Virginia Guthrie with her being so well known and her getting the word out there. Somebody would have had to published her words in a book too. I heard that. Did you hear that?
Right, right, and I've got a word to anybody that might be out there listening, that might remotely be looking to target me in any way. If you want to come at me for speaking out, that's fine. Go right ahead. Feel free, because God's got my back. And if they want to threaten me with eternal salvation, so be it. I'm always ready
Yeah,
to get
that's
to
the
the
way I
Father.
think about it. If they get me, and I go and then I'm a martyr because I'm speaking for God and I'm speaking for Christ. If they want to kill me, that just gets me the automatic way there.
That's right. God allowed me to live that day when I had that gun to my head. He allowed me to live for a reason, and so that I could fight another day for Him. That's why that came about. And fighting I am, because the awareness has to be raised.
Yeah,
Because
and all the about the Boy Scouts too, and your own personal story is very important.
it is indeed, because it's something that it wasn't as violent as some encounters occur, but nonetheless, it was horrific when you wake up and the alarm bells go off and this is not normal. Even as a 7-year-old child, I knew this is not what's supposed to be happening right now. This is not right. I don't know what this is. I've got to get out of this. I'm jumping out of a second story window. Thank God my brother held a board up, so he kind of softened the blow a little bit. But nonetheless, uh, you know, that's what really drives me to raise awareness, is because as a child, I knew exactly what it was like to be helpless in that moment, to not
Right.
to not have no hope, to know it was wrong, whatever it was that was going on, but I knew it wasn't right, and I knew I needed help. I just didn't know how to get it. But thank God my brother was still hanging. He was looking for me in the neighborhood, trying to figure out where I'd gone to. And so he helped to rescue me from that second story window and
Yeah,
get me out of that
sometime,
situation.
sometime if you want to, we let you have your personal thing where you let it all out on your whole story if you want to.
Yeah, sure. That's not a problem. But yeah, as far as to everybody that's out there listening in YouTube land, I encourage you to spread the word, spread the awareness, get other people to join in and to listen, because just because you're not a victim yourself, you may know somebody that is, and it's always helpful to spread that word and let other people know that the resources are there, they are available, people are here to help and to help you through it, to talk about it, to put the word out, and to go after those who are responsible. Because a lot of those people have not been brought to justice yet they do deserve that justice. The
And
the, the victims do deserve that justice, most definitely. Go ahead, Darlene.
And I also like the fact, when I was telling you that I was so aggravated that all these different people, some of them are writing me and saying, "Well, you're not much of a news anchor or nothing like that." And I go, "Well, I'm not a news anchor. I don't profess to be a news anchor. I don't get paid for what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get out here and bring awareness, right?"
No, in fact, quite to the contrary, it's exactly opposite. We pay for what we do. We we pay to promote. We pay to put the word out there. We
Yeah,
pay to raise that awareness, because these people have to know that it's not going to be tolerated. The ones that are causing the crime, they will be caught and dealt with eventually. And that's why we're going to be pushing on Washington to make the sentences more severe for these type of criminals, because it's not okay to lay your hands upon a child or any other person for that matter, even an adult woman. It's not okay to rape another adult. Date raping that was going on. I heard about it back years ago when I was a truck driver. That's not okay either. I mean, none of that's cool. Okay,
no,
it
it's
has
not.
to be something that is something that's for marriage only. That's what it's for. And anything aside from that, it's not for that. And so that's why we're raising this awareness, and that's why we fight, because children are mostly affected. That's the most important part that we have to raise the awareness on, because the child cannot speak for themselves. They're afraid, they're a victim, they don't know what to do. And maybe there's a parent out there that's listening that knows of a child that is in that type of a situation. By all means, speak up. Find
Yeah,
somebody to
there's
trust.
a thing that says 1-800 for a child. If you're not absolutely sure about something, That
That's right.
phone number 1-800, the number 4, and the word a child. That is a phone number where they got it in so many different languages and everything, and you could call and report it anonymously as well.
That's anonymous reporting. Nobody has to know who you are. Just make it known, and it'll be followed up on investigated. Because Cash Patel and the FBI, they want to know. Call them. Talk to them about it. They'll talk to you. They'll be glad to listen. They want to know. It's just like now that everything has been disclosed in the Epstein files. Well, that's because the investigation is still ongoing, and they don't want any of these people to escape. They want to get them all. So
Yeah,
they
they
wanna make sure they got. They want to make sure they got it all nailed down, all four corners, and they've got them.
see, and it's not just about child trafficking, it's not just about the sex trafficking and exploitation of girls and women. This is beyond guns trade. It's about bombings, terrorists. There's a big array of all kind of different crimes that's on that Epstein list.
It
And
is.
if you go like that and unlock the whole Epstein list, all them people that's got the power, and we don't, they're going to go like this and they get more money. They can hold us hostage easily and everything else because they got the money. So we got to be careful about how they go about arresting them and stuff. And we don't need to know some of the things until it's the people are behind bars.
That's right. And that's the thing. When you look at, a lot of people are looking at the Republican Party, and there's, I used to not be a politician whatsoever. I used to not care Republican, Democrat. I didn't know the difference. Didn't really care for many years. I thought, okay, it was cool to be a Democrat because the Republicans were trying to take away all the money and this, that, and the other. They were being conservative, which is the way I am now. And when you look at each party, how they work and how this country evolves and what the leaders of this nation put this country through with the way that they manage it, by far the Republican Party is doing a better job. There's no doubt about it. You can look even at the gas pump. There's a big difference. I mean, that's just a that's just one small part. But when you look at what Cash Patel put out in its statement yesterday, it's still an ongoing investigation. And it's still an ongoing investigation because the provisional governor is not completed with his investigation yet. We've yet to get to Washington. And we're getting there. We're going. We're going next
Yeah,
month. We're
they
getting
and
that way.
people keep trying to stop him from getting there, don't they?
They try. It's funny how that works out, though, isn't it? But nonetheless, we're pushing back and we're pushing forward. We're expending our resources to make it known that we will not give in. We will not stop. We will fight because the children of this nation's safety and lives depend on it. You
And
know,
all you that have been abused, please step up. Please don't step out and say, "Well, I can't deal with it no more." Get the balls, get the guts, and get the strength to stand up and say, "No, we ain't gonna have it no more. You done destroyed our country enough by hurting our kids. We are not gonna stand up for y'all harming our kids anymore. Come and stand united and let's protect our kids."
that's right. Very important, Darlene. Very important. Excellent point. Your point now.
I could get riled up now. I don't know if y'all can see that.
Yes, you
But I,
can,
I want to thank
and I
you
cordially
for
invite you to do so. By all means, spread that
and
word, spread
yeah,
that awareness.
and I want to still thank you for telling me. Yeah, it ain't really a news station that I do here. It's about awareness, and I'm so glad that you put me that there. Because I was like, yeah, because I'm just trying to bring awareness on the different stories of like some people might not know how bad that is. These circumstances are.
Because not
And that's a
everybody knows
Christian
yet.
church. And then when
Exactly.
they said that that was taken up to the academy or this certain type of thing, yeah, but it wasn't brought up to the police. It was brought up just in their own little church to let them go ahead and say and violate our kids and question them, not in a way where there's somebody kind. She cannot have any of her witnesses around. The kid cannot have any of her support around when all these people. She's in a room where all these people that's against her. Okay, telling Yet there's no comfort in these kids going up there at that church gathering one by one doing this, and they getting ostracized, and they being criticized, and they being called a liar, and they be called, and they're shunned. So they're treated and ostracized. And even though one lady, she had the case in the court system, and she ended up in a wheelchair, but she ended up closing her, being too afraid to do it in court, because even though she was had in a court case that they demanded, she went over there in front of the assemblies of God and around them men, around that half-centered round table type of thing. Um, and they treated her so bad and everything. And yeah, he got kicked out of that church, that Joe Campbell, but all of them blamed her. None of them told her, "We're sorry this happened to you." None of them told her, "Oh, we're sorry we kept allowing him in here." No, it's your fault he's ostracized. Your fault he's kicked out of here. He's such a good person. He was such a good person. He got to go there and start working for Jim Baker. Yeah, he's got the word of mouth to convince people, but that ain't really what a true Christian's about. Are you going to walk the walk and talk the talk, or are you just going to talk the talk and go the other way?
That's true. That's so true.
I'm
Love
sorry, I
that.
keep getting fired up.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with getting fired up. That's part of venting. It's part of sharing your true feelings and your true thought. And that's part of the healing process, Darlene. Is that the fact that you're able to get out here and share it and make other people aware of the various different aspects of how these situations how they unfold and how the people react. It's important that they know so that when they do encounter the situation themselves, they know how to better to handle the situation as well.
I want to encourage all of y'all who have been abused or something. It took me a long time to realize the number one thing I kept doing wrong was I kept taking the blame. It was them that caused it, but they had drawn it in my mind for so long that it was all my fault, that I was so bad, that I was so evil. No, it's them that are evil, okay? Please try to learn and work on putting the blame in the proper perspective where it needs to go. You no longer need the blame. These people that violated you are the true people that are the culprits. You deserve love. You deserve to be treated like a child. You deserve the respect of somebody loving and comforting you, being read a bedtime story, you know, being shown you mattered, being listened to. A lot of times when we were violated, when we were abused, we didn't have a voice. But now you can have a voice. And let's use this time while you're still alive to go ahead and use your voice and speak up. Let's speak up. Let's help other kids. It might be too late to help you in some ways, but by helping, when you see it that you're helping other people survive, oh man, that does so much more healing to my soul than anything else. That hurt child within starts feeling a lot better. It really does. When you see that it's what you're doing is affecting and helping others. But just telling my story, that don't help me. But when I see that it's helping others, that's the only way it helps me.
That's right. That's a very, very important part that you just touch base on, Darlene, is the fact that when you share and somebody else gets it and it touches their lives, that's the other part of the healing that comes about because that's confirmation that what you're doing and what we're doing and what we stand for is working in fact. That's the positivity that comes about. That promotes the healing from inside right there and then at that point.
Amen. Praise God.
Amen.
Well,
Hallelujah. Amen.
I want to thank you for coming in. I could tell I heard that noise outside, so that person I got to take to the bank before it closes.
Yep.
I need to get going. And I want to thank everyone for coming in, and
Yes.
thank you
Thank you,
so
everybody.
much. You you were wonderful with a lot of things that you said. I appreciate it. come in anytime and join me. If you want to join me tomorrow while I'm doing that thing, you feel free to come up and get online, on here too, and give your take on some of the things.
Sure, I'll be glad to. Looking forward to it, Darlene. And thank you, everybody that's out there listening. Thank you so much for coming in and listening and spreading that word of awareness um, ahead of time. We really appreciate it, and we just want to reemphasize it's all part of the healing process, and it's very important. Thank you
And,
very much.
and remember, when they try to discredit, what is it they're trying to do?
They're trying to cover it up.
Exactly. They don't want people to know, so they
No,
want to discredit, and they want
sure.
to cover it right back up.
That's right. That's exactly right. And
And
we're doing the opposite.
exactly. We're trying to heal the wounds that they inflicted upon us.
We're trying to heal the wounds and rescue the survivors. That's what it's all
Amen.
about. And rescue future potential victims from becoming actual victims.
Exactly.
That's the forefront.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank y'all so much, and God bless y'all.
God bless everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.